I know you're excited. I'm excited too. The World Series finally about to begin in about an hour.
Right.
Astros and the Phillies. And Rob, we've talked about it. I think we both feel this way, but go ahead and share the take that I think will be a defining take about this series. I think there's another one, Rob. Well, there are a few, and we'll kind of discuss those in this segment. But go ahead. I think we share one in particular.
Yeah, and basically, the Houston Astros have to win the World Series, Chris, because all that they've accomplished over these 6 years, 4 times they've made it to the World Series. They made it to the ALCS 6 years in a row. I mean, that's impressive.
Right.
But they only have the one World Series. And the one World Series they won was 2017 when it ain't even did they cheat.
Right.
It was confirmed by Major League Baseball and its investigation, Chris, that they cheated.
Right.
And they cheated. Remember, they beat the Yankees in 7 games, Chris, in the ALCS. The Yankees lost all 4 games in Houston, where they banging the cans and all that. That's where it all took place. And if you remember, they also beat the Dodgers that year. The Dodgers, again, didn't win in Houston, I don't believe, in that series. So, I mean, when you go back.
Remember, Dodgers fans wanted to get the ring.
Right. They wanted.
I didn't agree with that.
No, but they wanted it.
Right.
But this isn't like happenstance or maybe or questionable. This is documented, guaranteed they cheated. So to me, the Astros have to win in order for people to say, okay, they cheated and they won. There's only 4 players left from that team, and they won it with a different manager, with mostly a different roster, even though there are 4 guys, and they're 4 big ones. Let's not, Verlander starting game 1, Altuve, right, Bregman, and I'm missing somebody else. But those are major players on that roster.
Right. Absolutely.
Okay, so it ain't like 4 bench players. So this is a big World Series. And we already talked a little bit yesterday, Chris, about Dusty Baker and his legacy and how great he's been as a manager, but he's never won. And he's been on the cusp as well. So the pressure is on the Astros to win in order to validate. And I wonder where, you could add to that, and then whether fans believe that as well, Chris, that they need to win this for people to even, and I'm not saying everybody's going to forget what they did or act like it never happened.
Right.
But it would soothe over some of the stuff.
Absolutely. Rob, that I thought that title in 2017 should have been vacant. Not given to the Dodgers, not given to the Yankees, but vacant. You said it. We know they cheated. It's not like there's a suspicion. It's proven. And what happens in track and field? When it's proven, they take away the medal. They take away the record or whatever it is. And I thought that baseball missed the boat on that one. But that said, I will say this, Rob. The Astros have gained my respect because they've been great since then. They haven't won it, but they have been great. 3 World Series in the last 4 years?
And 4 and 6 years, right.
4 and 6 years, including 2017. And Rob, ask the Yankees how hard it is to get to the World Series.
They haven't been there since 2009. It ain't easy.
So the Astros have gained my respect, but they haven't won it yet, other than the year they cheated. And so if they do win this championship, I will feel better about 2017. I would have felt the best, Rob, had they vacated 2017 and then they still come back and win it. But I still would feel better about that title. I think this is a great team. And I think that I'm not alone in feeling like they would be, as you said, validated. Let me throw you another storyline. And I want to ask your opinion on this. I don't know if you're an absolute purist, but you lean that way. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I didn't like the expanded playoffs and the wild card and all that at first, Chris. And it's hard to argue with what has happened to baseball and the numbers and the added revenue and what it's done to the game. So I'd be blind to say, it should have stayed the way it was 100 years ago. Okay, so.
But this is right up your alley then. Because with the expanded playoffs, Rob, the Phillies had the 10th best record in baseball.
Yep.
They won 87 games. And they might win the World Series. And we've said it, and I think you agree. And I'm not belittling the playoffs. I think it's more exciting. I agree with everything you said. It's more revenue. It's great. I enjoy it. It's awesome. But it doesn't determine the best team.
No.
And you could say that, basketball pretty much does, right? Because that's just the nature of the sport.
Football, we've had teams, right.
Right. Football doesn't, but it's one and done. You don't play as many games, so it's a little different. But, I think in a lot of cases, I think football certainly does more than baseball, than this format in baseball. The best way to find out the best team was how they used to do it, which wouldn't be as exciting, but just the best team with the best record in each league over 162 play in the World Series. And then that will tell you who's the best team in baseball. But I like this better. It's more exciting. But do you have a problem if an 87-win team that maybe clearly, Rob, wasn't the best team in the league wins the World Series?
No, because everybody has to kind of go through it. They went, Chris. They beat the Cardinals. They had to go on the road for those games, right? They beat Atlanta. Atlanta had home field. They had to go through the gauntlet, and they won those series. St. Louis and Atlanta, formidable opponents. It wasn't like they got lucky and just won one game and they caught the Cardinals on a bad night or caught the Braves on a bad night. They won, and so we got to give them the credit. I give them full credit if they win. And we talked about it before. Is it about being the best team all year, or is it about being a hot team going into the playoffs? And that's what the Phillies wound up being, the hot team. And they're hot now.
We had John Smoltz, the Hall of Famer, Hall of Fame pitcher, on First Things First today. And he was talking about how the Yankees, and this was on the Herd, actually. He was on our show and the Herd, but he was saying this on the Herd. He was saying the Yankees, who obviously have had disappointing playoff runs recently, they're built for the 162. And that's how analytically built teams tend to be, built for the 162. The Phillies, in his view, are built for the playoffs. And he was saying, you need gut, you need feel. That's kind of what wins, along with the information. He wasn't belittling analytics.
Right, he knows,
but that's what wins in the playoffs. And we've talked about that too, Rob. I do agree with that. I think the analytics will help you in the regular season, maybe have the best record or one of the best records. But I don't think the analytics help you, especially when they're the end-all, be-all for you and your organization in the playoffs. Because that's when a Kirk Gibson, who wasn't like an all-time great player, can have an all-time great moment.
Right. And change everything, Chris.
Yep.
I mean, if the A's win that game one, Gibby couldn't even walk. He barely got to home plate. And he was facing, at that time, the best closer in the game, right?
Yep.
And he did and changed everything. That's how.
And you never would have put him in. If you're just going by the science.
Yep. No, he's hurt. Nope.
Right. So